Jesus on community outreach. This week's lesson clearly makes a transition from the Old Testament to the time of the New Testament in respect of how the followers of God understood and understand today social justice and helping people in need.
We'll be looking at some statements that Jesus made, some of his teachings, and see what he has to say on the subject. One of his well-known teachings, for example, is that we are to be the light of the world by reflecting his light. Are we shining just inside our church buildings or our homes? Jesus' light transformed human history. And he gave us, by example, a model how we can also, as the author puts it by citing the writer Robert Louis Stevenson, poke holes in the darkness. But let's start from the beginning with Jesus' mission statement.
Not only the lesson, but the Gospels also mark the beginning of Jesus' mission in this world with the unforgettable moment in the synagogue of Nazareth. Jesus had announced the mission and the meaning of his life as one who came to bring good news to the poor, freedom for the prisoners, sight for the blind, release of the oppressed, and jubilee restoration. What a very bold statement, and also a statement of unmeasurable humility.
We talked about Isaiah 61 last week, and Jesus used it for announcing what his mission is about. Jesus identified himself as the anointed one, and who preaches and who did what you just mentioned. But he stopped citing Isaiah at the acceptable ear of the Lord. He didn't read the next sentence, which refers to the day of vengeance of our God. It was about ministry, service, and mercy. He didn't want to point to this side of the Messiah, and we can think of many reasons why, but the main point for me is that the day of vengeance of God is not our business. It's not judgment time, and judging is not our business. Then we have the story of those that know the law, knows the right doctrines, but have no idea what to do with them. The teacher of the law that came to Jesus knew that it was about loving God, loving his neighbor, but he didn't know who his neighbor was.
And for Jesus, it was not a question who needed his help. That's why he told the parable for the Good Samaritan, for our own benefit, because it seems like we people are confused how love and help are expressed. We have a big mixture of people's opinions and traditions and habits and personal life and career and family, and all of them have their own voices in our head when we reason, should I respond to a call of help or should I not? And instead, Jesus, through the parable, wants us to identify ourselves as the one who can help.
And to be a neighbor of our neighbors. Okay, another illustration that Jesus used. You are the salt of the earth.
And in the Old Testament, we saw that God compared his people to a river that flows into a dry land and brings new life. A different analogy is used by Jesus for the same principle when he says that we are the salt of the earth. The lesson stresses on our call to go and mix with the people around us. If we are just salt, we are of no value, except if we become an ingredient of the whole recipe of the fabric of community life around us.
Are we just sitting in our salt shakers and feeling good about it? Too much is not good, right? Sitting just among ourselves, aren't we too salty? Have you seen how toxic we can become? We have to be mixed with ingredients different than us. This doesn't mean that we have to lose our identity and become like the others to conform. We should remain salt, but on its own, the salt is useless.
Very practical and close to us is Jesus' advice on how to look at outreach as a process. One sows, another reaps, Jesus says in John 4:35. In this process, preparatory work is as needed and important as is harvesting. And as much as we know that, again and again, every year we put our money and our effort in the last step of the process, harvesting. We provide a facility, we provide a great speaker who will convert all the visitors in 2-3 weeks period. Who will sow the seed? Who will fertilize it? And who will water it?
How successful would Jesus have been if he was just going around doing presentations? I'm sure that he could have amazed everyone by using the sky as projecting screen, doing 3D holograms, presenting all kinds of beasts and statues from prophecies. But this wasn't his model. He got involved with people. He was responding to their needs. And then, yes, he also preached and taught. A great practical example that the lesson gives is Jesus sending his disciples to the surrounding towns and villages to share the gospel without any resources. It was to teach them to depend on God and not on themselves, very important. But think about it. What are you forced to do when you're in a place that you don't know and have no resources? You have to start learning about it, to try to find people to support you and to provide the resources. It forces you to get involved in the community.
Excellent solution in vision is when we want to reach out to community, first to identify the need that it has, and then secondly, provide the resources and help to satisfy and address this need. And in this effort or process, as you just mentioned earlier, a community of believers somehow is born. Wasn't that exactly what Jesus did? Or am I being a little bit ahead of myself? In the next lesson, we will see specifically how Jesus reached out to people.
See you next week.